First Super of the day says, it's from Let's Go UW. Says, can't believe people, namely Pony, are speculating on trading Highsmith as a part of a potential Brandon Aiyuk trade. Typical Pony L take.
Oh man, we starting already. All right. Woo. Why have I heard? I don't think I've heard it like media wise, but I've definitely seen somebody else say something about the Highsmith. Oh, would you put Highsmith in the trade? Like, yo, why
It was
Highsmith?
Kaboli.
That's what I was saying.
He
I
said
feel like
it
I
in
saw
an
somebody
interview.
else say
It might
right?
actually been on 93.7 The Fan.
Okay.
Where he was just talking about what it would take to get Aiyuk and how the 49ers might not want draft picks. Like they want something that's actually going to help them win now.
Yeah.
And the Steelers' best offer could be something like a Highsmith, or we could throw in like a Dan Moore Jr. Or something like that. But, yeah, I wouldn't want to give up Highsmith for Brandon Aiyuk. I think Highsmith being here with a TJ Watt is more important than bringing in Aiyuk and adding him to the receiver room. Like, if we're without Highsmith, we're banking on a Nick Herbig.
And if we're without Aiyuk, we're banking on the field?
Yeah, and I'll take that. I would prefer the field at receiver, being that it's wide receiver too as well. And that we also have a Pat Freiermuth. We have running backs on offense too that I think we can get the ball to. Like, I'd rather take that chance than losing a Highsmith and then relying on Nick Herbig and then not even having any other depth after that. And I just think edge rush position too, I think a little bit more important than receiver. And today's I'm talking about wide receiver too, not wide receiver one, franchise wide receiver one, because I think it helps a lot that we have Pickens. But having an edge rush duo of TJ Watt and Highsmith, I think that's way more impactful than bringing in Aiyuk and adding him to the receiver room. Just with how our roster's constructed right now.
As I hear you talk, I just look at it like if we're viewing Aiyuk as wide receiver 2, then I agree with you 100%. I just think if we talking about paying Aiyuk $30 million, that's the conversation of your wide receiver 1. You're the alpha, and if that is what he's truly talking about, then I personally would have took Aiyuk over the Highsmith element. But that's if you believe Aiyuk can be that type of player, because I know what TJ Watt can do. And I feel like Herbig is nice. He's not Highsmith nice just yet, but I think with a season or two, he can grow to that.
This
and I
could
think
maybe
that's
be a
the
different
difference.
conversation for next offseason.
Yeah, and I think it's just more so we haven't had the opportunities to see him versus him not being capable. Whereas when I think of our wide receivers, I'm not necessarily looking at that group and I'm asking myself who hasn't reached their full potential because of lack of opportunities. I'm looking at that group and I'm asking, are they physically capable of reaching what I'm trying to get to in terms of a true wide receiver 1? I've seen GP. We know he can dominate down the grass, jump ball 50-50, but I still need to see that next part of, yo, can you do this? The route stuff, the separating, the consistent winning each and every game, each and every week, like a true wide receiver 1. Like when we would talk Deontay, even though we said it's not as sexy, it was consistently open. I still have that question about GP. We're going into year 3 with that now. When I think of the other receivers, Calvin, I'm like, yo, you're a speed dude, but you still haven't developed the other parts of your game to the point where I feel just, oh man, yeah, we could throw him out there. He's going to, he's a 5 for 70 dude every week. Like, I don't feel that just yet. So that's part of me where I'm like, I still want us to get a receiver to at least solidify that, or we're waiting and praying that GP is going to take that. Now, he can do that. And if he does, then great. We won't have to worry about it. But I just feel like either way, I'm be taking a chance. And I just think that TJ Watt is way more of a surefire piece. And I think that he could raise up a Herbig along with everything that you talked about with the LBs, the D lines, and stuff like that. I just think we got more pieces that could offset a Herbig versus if we just coming out here with these receivers and we're like, all right, y'all guys got to win one-on-ones. Y'all guys got to get open. I just think of how at times, last year and even the year before that, we were just kind of like, yo, man, come on, give us a little bit more, man. Give us a little bit more right here. And how it affects the quarterback play. And, I'm down for defense winning. But
that's what
I don't
gonna
feel like
say.
everybody likes that.
I feel
the
like
majority of the
that's
nation
how our
doesn't
offense
like
is
that.
going to be built. It's running the ball and Russ protecting it, making some splash plays here and there, but then, really relying on our defense being top 3 or top 5.
Like, it's a lot, and I love riding on the defense. I love that. But we've seen the past 2-3 years now, even with us winning and having success, because of the style of it, a lot of people don't like that, man. And that's, where we are right now in the sense of, we got upgraded quarterback. We done upgraded the O-line. We got a new coordinator in here. They want to at least be able to score more. And I think that you still got to have those pieces in place to do that, or at least to make it easier to do that.
And that's what we're hoping. Just the addition of Russ should offset the potential loss, or the loss of Deontay Johnson, like potentially.
Yeah, because we're seeing that him being able to get us in the right calls, his skills, his experience. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, just naturally being here, adding an Arthur Smith, Pickens going into year 3, Jaylen Warren going into year 3, still having Najee around, upgrading the O-line. Like I'm thinking like
as
just
a whole,
all that should just
our floor.
Right, naturally help the offense right there to be better than what it was last year at least. See, I liked how we were playing ball at the end of 2022. We still needed
we were outliers though.
We still needed to get to a higher level, I think, to get to big winning and like
and when we say the end, we're talking about like the Mason version at them last like 2 or 3 games.
I'm talking about
from the second half of the season, by week on.
Actually,
because I was thinking them last when we were scoring 20 plus, almost flirting with 30. That's what I was.
I would be good replicating our 2023 end of year offense with Mason. I was talking about Kenny's rookie year.
Okay,
it was really ground and pound.
Yeah,
and then Kenny clutch drive at the end, and him converting on third downs and stuff like that. I think we needed to hit another level there, but I was good winning that way because I thought we were in control. We had an identity. But the Mason offense, if we could just do that this year, we'll be fine. We'll be completely fine because the defense should be a lot better too. Yeah, and healthier.
No, very true on that, man. Very true. Like I said, I'm down with it. I just felt like, man. So you know how the people was tripping last year, though, bro. They want to see points.
You're the GM.
They want to see us scoring, man.
Highsmith for Aiyuk. You doing it right now?
But see, for me, if you're asking me this is going to open up a whole another part of the conversation. I don't think Brandon Aiyuk is worth $30 million and is a bona fide wide receiver 1.
No.
So that's, for me, why I'm going to say no. But if I did believe that Brandon Aiyuk was that, and I'm sure some people do, then I'm going to say yes. I just personally don't believe he's that. If this is DK Metcalf, yes, because that's a bona fide wide receiver number 1 to me. But it has to be a bona fide wide receiver 1. I don't want to just swap wide receiver 2 for pass rusher 2. I want to do the real thing if I'm going to do the real thing. But that's just how I look at Aiyuk. I think that he is a elite high end too, but I don't think he's a bona fide 1. Not for 30 mil.
And not having Highsmith wouldn't concern you? Because there's been times we've
dominant receiver, if I have the dominant number 1, and GP is my either you're gonna ascend to freaky category or you're an elite level 2, I feel great with that because I know TJ's gonna cook and I know Herbert can come in here and play.
Because it looked ugly at times back in like 2020, 2021, whenever we had some injuries at the edge rush spot. And like Highsmith would miss a game or two. Yeah. I mean, obviously when TJ wasn't there, we were hurting. But even like Highsmith missing a game, like it would get rough. But I do think Herbig's better than what we had back then. But
you would have another
I don't know if I want to risk that. Yeah.
But that's why for me, it would have to be the bona fide wide receiver 1. The same way if we were talking AB is obviously in a whole another class than DK, but it's like we're talking about a certain caliber receiver that we feel is that daggone good. And that's kind of how I look at it. Because we know Highsmith is crazy nice, but that's not going to score us enough points. You bring in this DK, you bring in a legit receiver that is worth that, I think it does change a lot for it.
But I think it depends on what you're replacing Highsmith with. I don't know what edge rushers are out there right now or who you could get. Because the replacement for Aiyuk, not getting him, is trading for like a Cortland Sutton or signing a Michael Thomas.
But if I'm doing that, I'm not touching Highsmith. I'm not even thinking about any of that over there. I'm looking at that as like, man, you're going to take this pick. I'm going to get this dude and maybe give him some cash. But it's only like a select number of wide receivers that I'm talking about putting a Highsmith into that just because Highsmith had 14.5 in the season before.
Yep.
He's proven.
He's really good against the run,
he's
too.
proven, man.
And even with his lack of sacks last year, I mean, he still got 7, I think.
And he's durable.
Always around
he's
the
available.
quarterback, pressuring.
Yeah.
Really
So
good player.
that's my thing. I'm like, bro, don't give us any nonsense off the field either. Like a genuinely good person. Yeah, man. I'm not thinking about that unless it's a DK or something that's proven. But that's just how I feel about Aiyuk. I don't know if everybody else feels like that about Aiyuk. Some people think that he's worth it.
For Aiyuk.
Yeah, some people think he's worth that. That's my hesitancy.
I think it'd be a fair trade.
I do too.
I'm good. I believe in Pickens. I think we could make the offense work with what we have. Now, again, I'm not opposed to still upgrading the wide receiver too. I don't want to give up Highsmith. I'd prefer giving up whatever draft pick it takes to get Ayuk and then paying him $25.
You telling me you like defense more than offense now? You'd rather stop a person than try to outscore
I
him?
just want to win games. I don't care.
No, well, because there's multiple ways to win games. You can either try to outscore them or you could try to just make sure they can't score. I like the make sure they can't score approach. But in today's NFL, the majority of the league is I'm going to try to outscore you.
I think if Russ can play like Mason did last year, we could put up 25, 30 points. Because think, all we did was slot in Mason.
Mm-hmm.
We still had the same offensive line.
But we had explosive plays coming out of it as well, though.
We had, I guess the only difference would be, in terms of receivers, would be we had Deontay. We don't have Deontay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Pickens was there. We got the same 2 running backs, but now we had Cordell Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
This year's offensive line should be better. So it's just like, man, to me, if Russ just if he could just play like Mason, and I don't see why he can't do that. It's Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I think we'll be fine. I really do. The wide receiver too, the Deontay, that's the big question. But I've got to see Russ make it work a lot of times out in Seattle with some no-name dudes.
Quick question.
And put up, decent numbers. Put up a lot of points.
You said that we'll be fine. What is fine to you?
I think putting up mid-20s.
No. I'm saying like on the season, like what is fine to you, like as a whole.
As
like
an
how we were at
offense?
10 wins, postseason, lost in the wild card. Like some people would look at that as like, yo, that's absolutely failure.
As an offense or as a team?
Both. Because I think they all gotta kind of go hand in hand.
As an offense, I would say the Mason games.
Okay.
That's fine to me.
Yeah.
That's a competent offense. I think we could have won the Super Bowl last year with how that offense was playing.
Yeah.
We had the turnovers in the Bills game, the wild card game, but that's not like the optimal version of that offense, right?
Right. I mean, like you said, you spotted team 14 points essentially, and now you're trying to play catch up versus a team that can score also.
Yeah. And as a team, I think we got it. We got at least one playoff game, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with how the offense was playing last year, I think that was a team that could win multiple playoff games.
Yeah.
It was the defense. I think the defense. Yeah, the
got
defense wasn't
up,
right.
man.
Yeah, we didn't have our linebackers out there.
Our safeties were jacked up. Yeah.
So as long as we stay healthy on defense, I don't see why this offense can't be like pretty solid for us.
Okay. Yeah.
And
that's what I was trying to figure
combine
out,
the two,
man.
we're winning games.
I know you just like, yo, we good. And I'm like, all right, it's good. Like, yo, we double digit wins, maybe a playoff win, or is it good? Like, yo, we are legit seeing Super Bowl. Like, that's what we're trying to get to. I think that as we currently stand, even with the current pieces, and if we're playing the Mason style, I think we will win some games. I don't know if that's enough to beat when it's time to go to a Super Bowl or even win the Super Bowl. That's kind of how I look at it.
Luckily, we got a trade deadline,
and that's true also.
So, I think we can be that style of offense to start the season.
Oh heck yeah!
And then we can try to fine tune and look and see, okay, how can we really take the next step? And then Omar Khan can do some work at the trade deadline.
Yeah, because it might just
that's why I'm not stressing about it as
just
much
give me
to
that,
start
give
the
me that.
season.
Yeah,
because I think Omar Khan is willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And whether it's a trade right before the season starts, middle of the season, before the trade deadline, that's the type of GM that he is.
Well, yeah, I'm still sticking with my stance of week 1, you need to make a move. It needs to have something done. Like the same way we talked, I guess it was 2 weeks ago when we was talking about the whole trade
we
stuff.
were talking about
like,
slot corner.
Either
about
one.
Receiver too?
Either one. I don't feel like this needs to be it going into week 1. I feel like, I want that piece here. I would like for it to be here sooner rather than later, so it actually has time to get the offense, get comfortable, and we're not doing it on the fly in season when the games actually count. And now we drop in. Oh, we dropped this one over here. We should have won that one, but man, we was a little leaky over here. Oh man, we almost got up out of here, but they actually just a tinky bit better over here because we had some personnel stuff. And now we got to hit the ground right now. We got to, hey man, come on, you know what it is now? It's back half of the season. We got the division here. All right, let's. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, I don't even want to play around like that, man. We know what we need. It's like, yo, if we're playing the percentages here, which one has the percentage of working better? One of the few, in terms of the guys we currently have, stepping up and consistently being there and ready to go and doing it for the whole time?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Or going to get that, and that already comes in here, and we know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I feel about it. But everybody is different in terms of the level of urgency of when they want to make that. That's all. I just feel like the sooner it happens, the better. But I do respect the idea of, yo, maybe one of these dudes can do that. And it's nothing saying they can't because we've seen dudes develop. We definitely have.
Yeah, and I think it's just belief in Russell Wilson, too.
Yeah.
I think it's belief in having a competent offensive coordinator here, an improved O-line.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got a lot of good things going for us on offense. It's just this, wide receiver 2 hole that we've been talking about all offseason after trading Deontay Johnson that thing we got to address, and whether that is in-house or it's getting an Aiyuk or trading for one of these dudes, that's a way to do it. I mean, Sutton makes a ton of sense. Cortland Sutton. Just trade a late pick for him. He's got the connection with Russ already.
Because
you're not giving up as much. But he's a solid wide receiver, too. He's the complement to Pickens. You know
honestly,
what he is.
Worst case, I would still have 2 dope wide receiver 2s in a group of other wide receivers that I feel like, yo, that is still comparable enough to get us out there with Russ. Versus if Pickens is just a wide receiver 2 and we just have this feel, that's the part where I think we will feel light. We will feel like, we're missing something. We need an extra piece on this offense.
Yeah, because no one would be stressing about a Cortland Sutton trade.
Not at all.
Whereas with Aiyuk, you may have question marks about what it takes to get him and how much you're paying him.
Heck yeah.
Cortland Sutton, it's going to be a late round pick to get him, and then you're paying him around
reward, bro.
The teens. You're paying him around Deontay Johnson type of money.
Like you said, I don't feel like we hate any of that. And I think the ability for either Cortland or GP to go even further, or GP to step even further, I think that's just icing on the cake. Versus right now, I feel like we're pushing all our chips to the center, and we're saying, GP, you have to be the bona fide wide receiver 1 from start to finish. Step up, be that guy. The field, hey man, y'all figure it out. Y'all got time, but GP, until somebody else comes in here, you have to be the guy. I just think it's a different perspective or a different expectation of what we're going to be looking for from him without a Cortland, without an Aiyuk, or without anybody, versus if one of those dudes were here. I just think it makes it a lot easier on everybody, including including the quarterback too, man.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about it.
No,